Hello everyone, I wanted to continue my review on the book The Root of Rejection by Joyce Meyer. We left off on starting into Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is titled Rejection, Protection Patterns. If you recall, the last chapter was Walls of Protection. So now we're talking about the rejection patterns and the different types of things. So the first one we start off with in this chapter, Joyce starts off with inner vows. Some of these are: nobody will ever hurt me again. Whenever I get out of this situation, nobody will ever push me around again. I'll never let anyone get close enough to hurt me again. Nobody's ever going to control me again. I'm going to run my own life now. From now on, nobody will ever tell me what to do again. And like she says here, we make promises to ourselves, not just once, but over and over again. We tell ourselves these things on the inside. While growing up, she says about being in an abusive home and everything, and then how she said when she got out of there that she would never let anybody push her around again. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because if you've ever been in a situation like that, and it doesn't technically have to be like the whole authority thing, and that, well, when I get out on my own, nobody's ever going to tell me what to do again and all this and that. It could be a relationship that, well, nobody's ever going to hurt me again. I'm never going to let anybody get close enough to hurt me again. It could be any kind of situation. I mean, there are really so many different things. And then we put up walls. And that's no good either. And I highlighted here towards like the middle of the chapter, towards the end, so I'm kind of picking and choosing here. But it's just one of those things where you take in, people can put you in these positions. It's like, it's not always technically, it usually comes down, it's like you're around other people, and it's the way that you take things and the things that are going on around you that kind of throw you into these positions. And a lot of it's just with your mind and the way that you deal with things. And there's always a different way to look at stuff. And but you can't blame all your problems on other people. You have to realize that a lot of this stuff is just deep down within you, and you need to deal with your own issues. You can't just expect somebody to take all that for you and really just take it and everything as if it's their own, because they have their own problems. But not to get off this, it's just one of those things where, like she has here, one of the things that some people will say, and I'm sure a lot of people will have said this many times, is that you can't trust anybody. And a lot of us, I mean, I think just about everybody's probably said, well, you can't trust anybody, I can't trust anybody. You can't trust men, all men are alike. All men are just out for one thing. And there's times where you'll say that to somebody, and if he really is true and in a relationship for the right reasons, and that's not the truth, you can really hurt somebody for saying something like that. Or it's like getting into a fight with your parents and saying, well, like, I know you really don't love me, or something, you know, when they really do, and you really hurt somebody. Your walls can prevent you from getting involved with different relationships, whether it be, you know, making new friends, maybe being friends with people at work, finding someone to be in a relationship with, even getting closer to your family, and putting up walls can keep you from these things and from these people if you never allow yourself to trust or believe that everything's going to be alright. One of the things here that she uses as an example from her own life says that God gave me a really great example of what it means to be involved in church. One day I stepped on my own foot and it hurt. I yanked my foot up right away, and while I was holding it, God spoke to me. He said, now, Joyce, notice that even though you stepped on your own foot and it hurt, immediately you withdrew that member because you didn't want it to get hurt again. But eventually, in order for that foot to be part of the body, you must put that foot back down and take a chance on stepping on it again. And she said she could not walk properly until she got her foot involved again. So it's one of those things where you think that you never want to get hurt again, you never want to get out there again. But if you're going to live, and you're going to live a normal life and everything, or live a life that's in motion rather than containing yourself to one place and never going out again, you're going to have to be able to trust, because if you don't, you'll just keep that foot up all the time. You'll never really be walking right, because you won't put that foot down. One of the things she says, and she uses, obviously for her, it was the church, or like she said, well, she said church or family, it hurts you, the immediate reaction is to withdraw. And like she said, the Lord showed me that never getting involved again is like hobbling around all your life on one foot. You cripple yourself by your own choice, simply by saying, oh, it hurts, I'm not going to let that happen again, and you put up that wall and you withdraw behind it. And this is so very common, and I think that on a lot of areas I've done this, and I know that it's been a big issue for me and a lot of people. And it's so easy to put up a wall, and I think that's what makes it so much of a common thing, is the fact that it's so easy. And when it's easy, everybody kind of it's easier to take that road, just that, well, I'm just going to stay out of it. And I missed out a lot of stuff in my life because I just chose not to get involved. I was so scared, and I didn't want to get hurt, and this and that, and everything, that it kept me away. And once it's done, it's done. It can't be redone again. So you're better off taking that chance and putting that foot down, no matter how sore it is, just to try it, because you may find in the end that it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. Another thing here she has is rejection protection. Pattern number 2 is pretense. She says, in addition to trying to protect myself from rejection through inner vows, I also pretended that I didn't care. You can't hurt me because I don't care. And another thing that people say is, who needs you? I'll make it on my own. And like she said, she doesn't live that way anymore because she's received God's healing in her life. Pretenders are unable to love and find it difficult to develop good relationships. Pretense is not limited to women. Many men pretend because of the macho attitude they think they should have. Sometimes men are hurting but won't admit it. They won't even let their own wives share the hurt. I think it makes women feel rejected because they want to share the hurts and the hard times as well as good times. And one of the things that I highlighted here is, what if a coworker sees that you're obviously sick, but you say, oh no, I'm not sick. Later they notice the Christian bumper sticker on the back of your car, and they say, oh, one of them. One of those holier-than-thou people you can't talk to because they won't be real with you. Or how about when someone has hurt you and they come to you later and say, I'm sorry that I hurt you, and instead of saying thank you, say, oh, no problem, you didn't hurt me. You're trying to be like, well, that doesn't hurt, even though it really does. You're really hurting. Rather than admit that, you would rather pretend that everything is alright, and it's not good to do that. You're better off being honest, because in the end you're only hurting yourself, and you can also hurt the other person's feelings by not being honest. As she says here, people tell me all the time, I really enjoy your teaching because you're so honest. You just tell it the way it is, and you don't act like you have never had any problems. And she says that's because I don't know any other way to be. I don't think I could teach if I had to play pretend games. And that's pretty much the way that it comes down to in life. It's like you can either be yourself and be honest, or be somebody else and just play pretend. And you're better off being yourself and being honest about who you are. And she wants to know, have you ever been a pretender? Do you sometimes find it hard to be real with people? And I can honestly say that yes, I've been a pretender. There are still some aspects in my life where I feel like I am pretending, because I just feel like I can't let go. I can't be who I am because I'm afraid that I won't be accepted. And if any of you out there are dealing with that, you're not alone. And I think that it's just nice to be able to come out and admit that, and just realize that you're not alone, and know that you can change and that you can be who you are. And I think that just knowing that, going back in reference to another chapter and everything, they say that you're the king's kid, I think that really sums it all up. But no, we don't have to go around pretending. We don't have to try to be tough or try to be super Christians. Rejection hurts, but we can survive it without pretense in Christ. Protection pattern number 3 is self-defense. She says we defend ourselves from rejection in different ways. Sometimes we defend ourselves with anger. You're hurting me, so I'm going to get mad. I'll deflect the pain by getting mad at you. I'll make you more miserable than you're making me. You're hurting me, but I'll get you back. have you ever been around somebody that's having a bad day and they bring everybody else down? And it's so easy to do that, it really is. It's just, that's another thing, it's just another natural thing, but it doesn't make it right. I think a lot of people, it's like an attention thing. You want somebody to feel sorry for you, to take and help you to feel better, and I know I've definitely done that too. But it's not right to bring other people down just because you're having a hard time of it. And it's not right to try to hurt them just because you're hurting. I mean, that's just not the way to deal with it. I mean, it's like getting revenge, and you're not supposed to do that and everything. It's definitely not something to do. And she goes on here that about obligation and making people feel obligated. It's like you say, you know, trying to think of a good example here. I hate it, so they don't give you enough time, but like for somebody's birthday, you know, and you like might hint at a gift that you want, which is that's normal, that's fine. But if you put too much pressure on somebody, then they feel obligated, like they have to get you the gift, and that's something that you're not supposed to do. You shouldn't pressure people to feel sorry for you. You shouldn't pressure people to buy things for you or to do things for you. And it's really hard, but it's better to sit down and say, you know, I really have good reasons why I want this gift and everything. Maybe we could take and split the cost or do something, you know, come up with some kind of way to deal with it, but don't put pressure on somebody to do something like that. You know, it's not fair to the other person. You don't know what they're thinking and feeling, and you shouldn't expect so much from other people because you don't really know. I mean, a lot of times you think that these people are being harsh towards you, which really they may not be. It's just the way that they come off. Maybe they're nervous too, and that's how they deal with it. So you really have to look at that in a different way. Another rejection protection pattern is verbal defense. I didn't highlight anything in there, or the buying protection. There are some good points there, but it's just I didn't see anything that really stood out to me. But she ends the chapter by asking, or by saying, well, really it is a question, what are the rejection protection patterns in your life? You need to identify them so God can minister freedom to you, freedom from the root of rejection. So really look at your life and just think about, what do you use to protect yourself when you're hurt? I mean, do you try to obligate people into buying you things or doing things for you to make you feel better? Do you try to hurt them, or take your anger and frustration out on them to make them come to down to your level to hurt the way that you're hurting? Do you say things that you may regret later? Do you use self-defense tactics? How many times, I mean, are you still taking and everything and saying, you know, who needs you, I'll make it on my own and everything? Are you still looking at your life that way and everything, and cutting people out? Because in the end, cutting people out's the worst thing you can do. Inner vows are just, they're so natural, but the problem is they're so painful in the end. And it's not a bad thing to have goals and things that you want to do and everything, aspirations, but you need to watch that you're not vowing something that may shut you out of going someplace else. I mean, it's like getting yourself set on, like, well, I'm going to this college. This is the college I'm going to. I'm not going to our college. And then you get an opportunity maybe to go to another college where maybe it's not as expensive, but maybe you can get like a better education, or maybe be around better people, more for what you want to do, but you're still dead set on that college, and you're not opening yourself up to any other possibilities. You're just dead set on one thing. Or like you want this one gift for Christmas and you don't get it for Christmas, and then you're let down and everything. You're not supposed to set yourself on one thing like that. You should be open to everything, and it's just one of those things that you shouldn't shut yourself off, because there's nothing or anyone worth shutting yourself off to life and everything, because you're just as much entitled to live your life as much as everybody else is. So take it and enjoy it and live it day by day like all the rest of us are doing, and just be careful of how you are around other people, to the point that you just don't cut people out. Try to do the best that you can to reach out to people and let them see you for who you are, the real you, not somebody that's a fake person or pretend, and I guarantee it'll make a difference. I'm going to close this. I'll catch you on the next chapter. Take care.